All right, welcome back, everybody, to this episode of A Day in the Life. But today we are talking about Hollywood movies, and gotta say, last night my camera cut off as I was in the middle of a subject, and we were pretty much talking about if Hollywood is woke, and about 70 to 80% says yes, while the 20% says no. When we look at movies to this day, Hollywood has pretty much changed the way of all movies, newer ones at most. You know, way back then, and I've said it in the previous episode, Hollywood used to be great way back then. I mean, they had dog movies. They had a lot of family fun movies that all of us enjoyed. But now today, I mean, I've asked this question yesterday, is Hollywood woke beyond belief? 80% of you guys had said yes, it is woke, while 20% says no, it's not. I mean, that just shows that 80% is saying, yeah, it's completely not the same anymore as what it used to be. And really, I hope and pray that in the future, that Hollywood will change the aspects of putting more movies out that are related to dogs, that are related to maybe a true story or something. Or maybe something that would be pretty nice for all of us to enjoy. But you look at it right now, no, the movies that they put out, I mean, Indiana Jones, I can understand. That one told his story. It told that he retired. I mean, if you didn't see it, then I don't want to spoil it for you if you didn't watch The Dial of Destiny. But anyway, I mean, there's nothing wrong with Indiana Jones. I mean, we all grew up with Indiana Jones. And so far, a lot of movies that came out way back in the day, not when Hollywood was not even woke, but now they are. You look at the direction of where they're going, when they're putting out all these movies that make little to no sense of what their title is, what the movie is all about, and this and that. And, you know, so far, the last dog movie that ever hit theaters was The Call of the Wild. And it came out on February 20th, 2020. That was before the whole global pandemic came on all of us, and it had to force down the movie chains like Regal, Cinemark, all of them temporarily closed due to COVID and all of this bad stuff that was going around. You know, as a Regal Unlimited member, I watched The Call of the Wild 13 times. I would get out every night after work and say, hey, you know what? I would love to watch a movie. And I went to Regal one night in Live Oak, and There was that one night, it's about 10 o'clock at night, and I have the whole auditorium to myself. I was the only one there, just watching The Call of the Wild. There were scenes that I literally had tears coming down my eyes, down my face. And, there are some scenes in that movie that literally made me tear up for some reason. And that's one thing a great movie can always have. It can have joyful or sad things that would go along in it. Guys, I really wished, this is just an example of what I had back in the past. We had great movies that all of us had enjoyed. But now you look at it. Hollywood has been weaponized. And they're pumping out all these movies that make little to no sense and this and that. And it's just movies that don't really make any sense to any of us. I mean, rated R movies, horror movies, or a bear that's literally on crack. That literally doesn't make any sense whatsoever. How does a bear get high as a kite? It makes no sense. And these movies, not regarding Indiana Jones or Mission Impossible, but all these newer films that are coming out and that are releasing to the theaters, they literally have no sense in what the story is about and what the main plot is about. The movies these days, run by Hollywood, my dad told me, it's completely woke. And all of us know it. Because you see a lot of these people making millions upon millions of dollars to create a movie that they would think is funny to the people. Which technically none of us are even laughing. If you have a family film and way back then during the 1990s, we talk about Beethoven. We talk about how great Hollywood was way back then when they created something that everybody can enjoy. Beethoven is like one of my favorite, and I'm saying it, my favorite childhood favorites. And as you look at it, there's all the movies right there. You can see it. You can see that these movies right here, they were all about family and fun and laughter and maybe a little bit of sadness in each and every single one of them. And Beethoven ran from 1992 to 2014. Now, we'll say those were the good old days way back then. Charles Grodin, he was around and he was the greatest Beethoven character I really enjoyed. Guy that plays George Newton. And Bonnie Hunt, she played Alice Newton. And then the three kids. Plus family dog, which was really good. You know, there was funny things within the movie that we all laughed about. Like the time when George was almost about to get ripped off, these two people trying to con him out of his business. Beethoven was going around the table legs and chairs, and as George was about ready to sign the papers to these two goons that were trying to con him out of his business, Beethoven got into the guy's lap because he saw the ball. The guy threw the ball, and Beethoven went chasing after it, leading off to the tables and chairs being drugged by him, and plus the two people that were in the chairs. And George is like screaming, "Beethoven, no! No! Bad dog!" And he just took off running, and George is running. Alice is just sitting there laughing. It was so funny. I was dying laughing when I saw that going in the movie. But literally, George didn't like Beethoven till the very end. But Alice and the kids loved Beethoven like no tomorrow. The father felt rejectful till the very end, when he decided that he supports his family more than ever. You know, and that's when they exposed corruption and they exposed these dog nappers. There was a lot of dogs that were literally kidnapped or dog napped, whatever. And these three bad guys, they were pretty much killing them. And the Newton family knew that Beethoven was actually in trouble because he was in there as well. They were going to pretty much shoot him with the revolver type gun. And now the Newton kids, they smashed the family's car into the warehouse of where they were. And, you know, George rescued Beethoven. And Alice, she got mad. She got mad. And George is like, "Who told you to allow these kids to drive the car?" And I was like, well, they planned it. They said, "Hey, let's smash the family's car into that building through the front door." And George and Alice, they were arguing. And I tell you, I could just image that in my head or even watch the movie and just have a good time just seeing them argue. And after that, they just hugged and kissed right after that, after they got done. But anyway, they were unreleasing all the dogs. They released every single one of them. Now the two bad guys, they were taking off on foot. All the dogs were after them. They ran through a supermarket place that carried like produce, this and that. They got into this junkyard that they didn't know that had about 4 Dobermans waiting on them. Well, after that, the Dobermans, they attacked them. And Well, after that, the police arrested all three and charged them with criminals. Uh, you know how criminals are charged: animal abuse, animal endangerment, and a lot of other charges that were pretty much thrown against the three. The Newton family, they were watching the news, and they were on TV one night. They were hailed as heroes. And so far as we look at all the dogs that were freed, they found their loving homes. And now that's what a family film should feel like. Something that talks a lot about adventure. And, based upon a true story, I think Beethoven is a true story. Pretty nice. I mean, family fun for everybody to enjoy. And if you got dogs of yourself, treat them with acts of kindness. This or that. I mean, that's how Hollywood was great way back then, but now we look at it completely woke. And that's what my dad is saying. It's like, son, Hollywood is not what it used to be. Because it's woke and they force their political agenda on, I don't know if it's all of us, but 80% of us are saying yes, it's being forced on us. And 20%, they're okay with it. But my dad, he's like, no, I don't go and watch the movies. I don't pay anybody to just go in, sit 2.5, maybe 3 hours, just watching a movie and this or that. I mean, because he's not going to give money to these Hollywood actors. That's the thing. I mean, until Hollywood changes, then I don't know what else to say. I hope they change and they bring back great movies and, put dog movies back on the list. That's what they need to do. Besides all these other movies that make no little sense whatsoever. I mean, it would be nice if they would think about that. They would say, hey, let's take a vote on what all of us would like to see. All of us would love to see Hollywood change and stop it forcing this woke political crap on us and put back family movies that all of us can enjoy again. And, take that garbage, all these newer movies, take that and put it in the trash can and don't even remember it. I mean, newer movies that make little to no sense need to be put in the garbage can. I mean, that's just me saying it. That's my little personal opinion. But hopefully one day, I hope and pray that they will change. Maybe. I mean, I'm not really sure on how the future will be. But, a lot of people, they work on that and they make tons of money, this or that. But literally, they don't need to put movies